You know, when your AI goes off the rails, the first casualty isn't a line of code, it's trust. So today, we're going to tear down the playbook for maybe the most critical part of AI management, crisis communication. What do you say and who do you say it to when it all goes wrong?
All right, just so we're all on the same page, this is part 7 of a 10-part tutorial. We're digging into a really comprehensive report from Virtualization Options LLC called Creating, Running, and Integrating an AI Incident Response Team, Process, and Department. And listen, this one's specifically for you, IT managers and senior management. So we're not just talking tech specs today, we're taking this conversation straight to the boardroom.
Okay, let's paint a picture. Imagine it's just a regular Tuesday morning. Everything's humming along, until it isn't. That brand new AI system, the one at the absolute heart of your company, it just went haywire. I mean, spectacularly wrong. And now, the clock is officially ticking. So here it is, the million-dollar question. And I mean that literally. The wrong answer could cost you millions. Your AI just triggered a massive incident. Who's the first person you talk to who absolutely has to know, like 30 seconds ago? Because let me tell you, when an algorithm goes rogue, your old-school IT incident phone tree just isn't going to cut it.
And this is why it gets so tricky. You know, your standard playbook for when a server crashes, it's pretty much useless here. We're dealing with a totally different beast with AI. We're talking about things like algorithmic bias, suddenly making really awful, discriminatory decisions. Or AI hallucinations, where the system just makes stuff up, but it sounds completely real. Or even emergent behaviors. That's when the AI just starts doing things nobody ever programmed it to do. It's a whole new ballgame for sure.
Because getting the communication wrong, or even just being too slow, can have massive, massive consequences. So let's get real about what's actually on the line here.
Yeah, the report we're looking at is crystal clear about this. One of the absolute biggest risks is, and this is a direct quote, irreparable reputational damage. We're not just talking about a bad press day. No, this is the kind of stuff that can stick to your brand permanently.
And right alongside that, you're looking at a loss of customer trust that takes years to rebuild. Think about that. Trust is pretty much your most valuable asset, right? It's not something you can just buy back. Once you lose it, man, it is a long, hard road to get it back.
Okay, reputation aside for a second, let's talk cold, hard cash. The report points out the very real threat of regulatory penalties, and we're not talking about a slap on the wrist here. If you mishandle an AI incident, you could easily be looking at fines in the millions of dollars, and that's just from the regulators.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that an AI failure isn't just a tech problem for the engineers to fix in the server room. No way. This is a full-blown business crisis, and it needs to be handled right from the C-suite. Okay, so how do you manage something like that? Well, that brings us right to the heart of what we're talking about today. We're jumping into Chapter 7 of the report, which is all about building that strategic playbook for crisis communications.
The report calls this whole area communication and stakeholder management, and it's way more than just sending out a press release. Think of it as a strategic framework with 3 main parts: having clear protocols, actively managing perception, and being incredibly diligent on the legal side.
So here are the 3 big pillars of that framework. Pillar 1, protocols. This is all about knowing who you need to talk to, when you need to talk to them, and what you need to say, both internally and externally. Pillar 2, perception. This is huge. It's about getting out in front of the narrative before it runs away from you. And Pillar 3, legal. Making absolutely sure that every single move you make is buttoned up and compliant.
All right, let's break down each of those 3 pillars. This is where the theory turns into a real action plan. First up, protocols. You've basically got 2 completely different conversations happening at once. Inside the company, your engineers need the nitty-gritty tech details. Your legal team, they need to know the risks now. And leadership needs the high-level summary to make the big calls. Then you've got the outside world. Your customers need to be reassured. Regulators need very specific, by-the-book information. And the public? They want to see that you're being honest and accountable. You obviously can't send the same memo to all those groups.
A good way to think about it is like a set of perfectly interlocking gears. Your communication protocols and your legal reviews have to work together. When they do, every message gets vetted, every stakeholder gets the right info at the right time, and every action is compliant. It's a smooth, controlled response. But if those gears grind, you just get chaos.
Okay, pillar 2, perception.
This is all about managing the story. You have to control the narrative. You can't let rumors and speculation fill the vacuum. And the way you do that is by being transparent, yes, but also super precise with every single word. Your goal here is simple: reassure your stakeholders and show everyone that you are taking this seriously and owning it.
And that brings us to the third pillar, and honestly, this is the one that can really hurt you financially: legal and regulatory compliance. When you're in a crisis, this isn't just important, it's completely non-negotiable. Every single email, every tweet, every statement has to be vetted by legal.
And just think about the legal minefield here. You've got regulators breathing down your neck, asking if you have a duty to report. You've got data privacy laws like GDPR to worry about. You've got potential lawsuits on the horizon, and you have to juggle all of that while still communicating what you need to without accidentally waiving your legal privilege. It's a tough balancing act.
So when you put all of these pieces together, you start to move away from just reacting to a crisis, and you start building real, long-term resilience as an organization. All right, let's boil this down to the key takeaways. What do you need to do to build this fortress before the storm hits? Number 1, plan proactively. Seriously, you can't be writing the fire drill instructions while the building is on fire. Number 2, communicate clearly and quickly. Any vagueness or delay just makes the damage worse. Number 3, protect trust above all else. It has to be the guiding principle for every decision. And finally, number 4, remember, this is a cross-functional job. It's not just a PR thing. It takes your legal, engineering, and leadership teams all working together seamlessly.
You know, there's a quote from the report that just nails it. It says, AI incident response is not merely a technical challenge, it's a cross-functional imperative. And that's exactly right. This has to be part of your company's DNA, from top to bottom. So I'll leave you with this question. You've poured millions into making your AI smart, right? But is your crisis plan just as smart? Because when, not if, something goes wrong, it's the intelligence of your response plan that's really going to determine what your company's future looks like.